Patio Joe doing the Wise Cast for Week 16. I am your host. You can follow me at Twitter at Patio Joe Ref, and I'm joined here again after a week break with my man Paulie D. What's going on, Paulie? How are you?
Great. Just hoping, to have a decent slate this weekend with all the COVID chaos that's just running rampant through sports right now. It's like annoying. We got to deal with it. And I just hope, we don't lose too many games because, the slates kind of got congested last week. And I would like to see, it stay the way it is right now.
Just want to show everybody watching, I got my Christmas t-shirt on. Santa Claus watching you. He's watching everybody. Also something else a little dirty if you want to look at it that way too. I can never unsee that now. So anyways, it's weird. I was talking to CK pre-show that it just seems like it's way more rampant this year than it was all last year, and NFL was a little bit more
well, everyone was being way more cautious.
Yeah.
So like now, like one guy on a team gets it, they're flying on a team plane, no mask. Like it's like bound to spread. Nobody's doing the masks anymore, and last year they were in bubbles. They were taking every precaution possible. And there was a lot larger fear of like death. Now everyone's pretty confident they're just going to beat it. So like people just don't have as much care, I guess, or caution.
Yeah, I honestly don't think sports would shut down again unless we had an athlete die. Yeah. There has to be something like that to happen for somebody to pause again, because there's just so much money that they lost last year and such, and money rules the world, especially in the NFL. It's full steam ahead. That being said, last week it was a shit show, and but cash games, once again, I came up on top. I'm 12-3.
Why?
12-3 now on the season. I mean, it's just pretty awesome. Last week I look at my lineup that I had, and once again, just finding out where the chalk's going to go. I mean, I've probably never seen this in about 6 years playing cash games in NFL, that James Robinson was like 99% owned in cash games. I mean, 99%, like almost 100% people had them.
In what size field contest are you talking about?
This is 100-man cash game.
100-man.
Yeah. So almost everybody has them. So last week, where I differentiated was I went with Christian Kirk, who was only 12% in cash games. Gabe Davis was a great value play. And then you know what else I think was the biggest difference was my cash game quarterback was Aaron Rodgers. We talked about it last week, who was better on FanDuel. Him and Prescott was only $100 apart. And I was like, dude, Rodgers all the way. And I felt like that line last week with the Green Bay Baltimore being at only like 44 going into the game. Yeah. Oh man, that was like the easiest over of the whole year in my mind. I just knew that game was it was in Baltimore. I could just see Rodgers throwing all day. And
Baltimore's defense is so overrated. Like, they're really not good at all, Baltimore's D, but they have this reputation for years that, drags those numbers down.
And, Rodgers was only 20% owned in cash games, and we had everybody else going to like Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, and Dak. And Rodgers was great, and I was in the top 10% of every one of my cash games. And I also, the cash game guy also finished 20th in a GPP, which is, I think it was like 2,000 people. Me, I don't really play that much volume. So did well on that. It was the Packers, stack with Mark Andrews and such. But turning to this week, once again, we have a very kind of an ugly slate when it comes to Vegas, lines and stuff. We got the highest one on the board we got the Rams and the Vikings, and I could see that totally going off and being more. But then the other games I look at, I kind of feel like what we got to touch upon. I think maybe there could be some fireworks in the Baltimore Cincinnati game. in Cincinnati. It's pretty much for the division. It's a 45 total. It went down 2.5 points. I think that either Lamar or Huntley plays. I like it as going for the over and such, and I don't mind investing in that game. What games are you kind of looking at before we get into what we want to these lineups?
In terms of games, obviously the Rams Vikings game is certainly attractive. I'm with you on the Cincinnati Baltimore game. I think the Chiefs are going to do their part at home against the Steelers, and I kind of expect the Steelers to put up some points too. I think that game could be pretty high scoring. And after that, in terms of games, there's not much that I'm really that excited about. I do think that there's some value opportunity in the Jaguars-Jets game, and maybe in the Broncos-Raiders game. But I wouldn't be like, this is a game I think is going to put up 50+ points. But I think there's opportunity because of the low prices and low ownership on those players. But yeah, I agree. Like outside of those 3 games, the Chiefs game, the Bengals game, and the Rams game, I don't see a lot really going off of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I can see if the Chiefs have all their pieces, meaning Kelsey and Hill, that it being a classic Steeler game on the road where they get down by like 30 points, and then Ben in like the third or fourth quarter just throws like 2 or 3 touchdowns and kind of makes up that stack like they did, against the Chargers on the road. And then there was just a game another recently where they almost did the same thing where Steelers came back, it was on prime time. They came back and made a game of it and still lost, or they might have won at the end. I don't really remember, but
it was against Minnesota.
Yeah.
I don't remember who won either, but yeah, they were getting crushed and they rallied back.
And they rallied back. So I can kind of see that happening. I don't know if I'd want to have Ben as my quarterback, but I wouldn't mind having, like Deontay or one of the receivers, maybe Najee Harris and stuff. Getting into this slate, let's move to DraftKings now. First off, I I know on FanDuel he's going to be in the lineup because it's just my cash game way, but it's week 16. COVID is rampant everywhere, and Rojo is the chalk running back for the week.
Yeah. Yep.
And his price on DK is $5,100, and on FanDuel is $5,400. I feel like he probably will be the highest owned player in cash games and tournaments. I can definitely see the fade, but last year against Carolina, almost in the same spot towards the end of the year, he completely dominated them with over 100 yards, was really just stepped into the role fine.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge believer I feel like in football, where the difference is in football to baseball is baseball, they always say you need a huge sample size. But football, they say, well, he ran for 150 last year against the Panthers on the road, so he must be able to do it this year. No. There's so many things that have to go into him producing that again to where it's like you can't just lock it in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care at all about the last year's game, but the fact that Godwin and Evans and Fournette are all going to be out. I do think Brown's supposed to come back, but that's just so much usage that will, likely trickle down to Ronald Jones touching the ball 20+ times against a mediocre defense. And the fact that he's going to get targets, at his price makes him just have such a high floor on DraftKings. I think if I was looking at the fade, it'd probably be more so on FanDuel.
Mm-hmm.
But
definitely, I can
this
see
guy's not good.
GPP, but in
cash, you just play him. Don't even think twice. Absolutely.
All right, yeah, looking at the quarterback spot, we can go to Mahomes, but right now we don't know if he's going to have, Kelsey or Hill. He might be going with Byron Pringle, Josh Gordon, and Mecole Hardman. I personally think that going into this slate, the The 3 quarterbacks that I'm looking at, maybe 4, is it just I think that the news on Lamar kind of, I wonder, if it's not Lamar, then Huntley, I'm in there. I like Burrow. But the 2 guys I'm looking at, Justin Herbert, 7,200 on DK, Matt Stafford, 6,700 on DK. And I also like in a GPP, I'm gonna keep going to him because I feel like one of these days he's just gonna have a blow up game, and it's Russell Wilson against the Bears at home. The Bears will have no starting cornerbacks last on Monday night, and so who do you want our quarterback to be?
I would like it to be Justin Fields.
Justin Fields, okay.
I am just wildly impressed with the kid. I really think he's going to be good. I think he's like rapidly, getting accustomed to the speed of the NFL. He's electric running the ball, throws a nice ball. And, Seattle's defense is terrible. Like, it's hard to envision that game going to the moon, but like the moment you said Russ and like to Seattle side, like, maybe this game does have some sneaky upside. Like, but Justin Fields at 5'2", like, opens a lot of doors in terms of tournaments. I don't see how I'm not playing Cooper Kupp this weekend at 9-1. And, if Tyreek Hill's a go, like, I love him this weekend too. So I'm going to need some money. So that's just, I don't mind the pay down here for a guy with that type of running upside, most likely trailing on the road and starting to really play well against a really poor defense. I'm really into Justin Fields.
All right, I'm with it. I think the one thing that holds Justin Fields back is Matt Nagy. Mm-hmm. I've been watching that game. I've had him on my seasonal teams all year, and it's weird. Like last week, I felt like last week he was in a blow-up spot against Minnesota, and it just didn't happen. But then the week before, I felt he was going to get his ass crushed in Green Bay, and he actually did really well. Mm-hmm. So you just never know what you're going to get. I'm with it. Let's move. Let's move. Let's put Fields in there. You said you wanted Kupp. Now, do we want to bring it back? We don't really even need Fields with the receiver.
I would, though. I certainly would. Either Cole Kmet at 3-3, just, the targets are just way up with the injuries. I don't know if Allen Robinson's going to be back or not. But if not, then Darnell Mooney or Cole Kmet, either one.
Okay, and then do we want our boy DK as the bring back because squeaky wheel gets the grease?
What is
Lockett?
What's Lockett's status? He's expected to play.
He's still on the COVID list, so it's just kind of hard to, envision.
Yeah, I'm fine with either one of them, to be honest with you. But
let's just go right now with.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so we're gonna put in Cooper Kupp, DK Metcalf, Cole Kmet. We have Ronald Jones. Let's move to defense. Defense, I feel like we can find a defense in there that's going to be that's going to fit our needs exactly what we want.
The Jets.
The Jets against Jags could definitely be,
the Broncos against the Raiders. I'm fine with.
Yeah, I don't mind.
Buffalo. How much is Buffalo?
Buffalo is 32.
A little pricey.
Patriots are 29.
How about the Panthers? 2-3 against a totally depleted Tampa Bay team who just got shut out by the Saints
on the road. I don't see it. I don't mind it, especially if you're going to try and fit in. Ronald Jones can still do his thing, and you have the Panthers D. I don't mind that at all. Why don't we do that? Lock them in and then see where we can move up. All right, we got three spots left: running back, a receiver, and a flex.
Talk to me about running back a little bit, like outside of the chalk play. Like, what do you like there?
It's all tough. If you look at it, they all got freaking question mark, COVID-19, this and that. I like The guy I would love, and he's definitely more of a FanDuel play, is if Ramondre Stevenson is out, he missed practice. Damian Harris coming back against Buffalo. I like that. He kind of stands out up at the top. You just don't know. Mixing practice today. If he's healthy, that's fine. Najee Harris, he just seems to be falling off the ground. The guy I probably would want to go to is and I think we could probably fit him in, is Dalvin Cook. What I saw from the Rams game is that Rashad Penny ran the ball pretty well, and they should have stuck with it, and they should have he hit the holes pretty well, and I think you can run on the Rams. If I was paying up, I would just go all the way up to Cook, thinking that that's how they're going to be able to beat the Rams, is that they got to run the ball and keep them off the field, especially if we go with Kupp as our receiver, bringing it back with Cook. We have enough value. What do you think?
I'm fine with that. Absolutely.
Okay.
I like Cook or Jefferson for sure.
Yeah, I think we'd have to have one of them in there. And I feel like the Rams will do enough to keep Ramsey will do enough to keep Jefferson at bay. And we need that. So now we have 5150 with 2 spots available. A cheap receiver. Gabe Davis at 4,700. He probably will be chalky, considering that Emmanuel Sanders is out again this week, and Cole Beasley is already confirmed out because he is unvaccinated too.
Mm-hmm.
So he's in a good spot. We could switch it if we wanted to go tight end. We could put Darnell Mooney in there. I also don't mind Amon-Ra St. Brown. He has just been eating up the targets. Russell Gage, that guy has just been Mr. Dependable, believe it or not. I don't mind one-offs. I also don't mind a correlation play. But it seems like we have everything a little correlated. We could go with somebody from Carolina, like a Carolina receiver if you wanted to, but I wouldn't mind a one-off too, some sort of value here and such. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm happy with a one-off value play. How much money do we have?
We have 10-3 left, 5150 per player. Gabe Davis is 4,700. That's one. Antonio Brown is going to be wildly popular too at 4,900 on DK.
Mm-hmm.
They said he's going to play at least 35 snaps. I can imagine him playing more, especially if the game's close. I'd probably say we should move off the Panthers D if we were to play both Jones and Brown in the same lineup.
Yeah, I agree with that. What is one of those Chief studs realistically gonna miss?
Well, they're both on the COVID list. Kelsey went on the COVID list on Monday, and Hill went on the COVID list on Tuesday. So I feel like Hill is more of a question mark to play than Kelsey. And it seems to be coming out now if you're vaccinated or not, because you're ruled out immediately. Everybody knew Beasley was, So if they haven't ruled him out, I feel like Tyreek Hill and Kelsey are vaccinated. So, I feel like just going off the news that we have right now is the best for this show. So,
yeah, I wonder how popular Pringle or Hardman would get if Hill got ruled out.
Mm-hmm.
But
probably would be. I think people would go to probably Hardman, and I feel like he'd be the easy fade. I would go to Pringle or they're the other guy. Was it Robinson?
Yeah, Demarcus Robinson.
Marcus Robinson. He's the forgotten guy there,
Yeah.
They got Josh Gordon and stuff like that and such. Another thing is we could move off of Komet and put Demir Bird in receiver. He was also a Chicago guy that came in and got some work. He is value too. So where do you think we should go with our value receiver, and we'll move on to flex?
I think Chase Claypool is kind of interesting at 5-1.
Mm-hmm.
Where you want to be cheaper?
I think we should either go with Gabe Davis at 4,700.
Yeah, play Gabe Davis, dude. He's legit. Like, he should be playing over Sanders anyway.
I never understood that signing after Gabe Davis had such a good end of the season.
Yeah.
It was just so weird. So we got 5,600 left. That leaves us with options like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Van Jefferson.
I like Van Jefferson.
Yeah, but we got Kupp. So
yeah.
And Van Jefferson's only been getting like 2 or 3 targets the last 2 games. Like, it's so weird. Stafford is only really throwing to Kupp lately. He's not even throwing Odell.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. So,
but how much did you say it was? 5.2?
Who?
How much money we had?
We have 5,600 left.
56. Ish. It's a rough area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you could like change a D. I'm Miles Sanders against the Giants is viable. If you open up $100 from the D, or no, if he's 5.6. Amon-Ra St. Brown against Atlanta. I'm fine with any of those.
All right, let's just go with the kind of like the 3 running back build here and just go with Miles Sanders. He had a good game.
Mm-hmm. The Giants run D's awful.
Yeah. All right, so that's gonna do it for our DK lineup. We got Justin Fields, Ronald Jones, Dalvin Cook. We got Cooper Kupp, DK Metcalf, and Gabe Davis, Cole Kmet, Sanders, and the Panthers D. Moving on to FanDuel. Now, once again, FanDuel, pretty simple. Obviously we're going to try and build a little bit more of like my first look on the cash game lineup. Obviously, we're going to go with the same thing with Ronald Jones. It's the way he's 5,400. We're just going to put him in there. Quarterbacks here, it's a little different, but still Fields is priced is the same as Burrow. I don't mind Burrow at 7,100. That's a pretty damn good price.
Yeah.
It's funny though. He hasn't produced very much the last few weeks. He's had 2 good weeks. I would think would be like what we would want for a cash game quarterback. But he's facing the Ravens in a must-win game. I think also cash. I think Justin Herbert. If Eckler's out, I think Herbert will be the highest quarterback on the slate. What do you think?
I mean, dude, there's just like so much that could change. You know what I mean? But I mean, I like Herbert a lot. I definitely do. But if Eckler's out, then what's his name at running back becomes chalk, right? Jackson.
You see,
it's such a good spot.
I've watched the Chargers all year, and Justin Jackson seemed to have finally taken that second running back role. Uh-huh. But if Eckler's inactive, I could see them activating Roundtree and having Josh Kelly there, and it just being like a 3-man type of thing. Uh-huh. And I would fade all of them in GPPs. I maybe would play Jackson in cash just because that's where the public might go.
Right.
But I could see all 3 of them cannibalizing each other.
Yeah, it's possible.
I really see that. And I watch the Chargers enough to know that Roundtree hasn't been active the last few weeks, but Eckler's been there. Now, if Eckler's not there, I feel like Roundtree is the true first and second down between the tackles back that they like the most. But that's just my personal opinion. But for this lineup, I feel like the cash game quarterback is. I'm gonna go. I think I want to go with just Stafford right now, or Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is 7,700 on FanDuel. I feel like that is
right. It's like either Hurts or Sanders you're gonna want in your lineups, right? And if you're playing Hurts, you got to put Goddard with him.
Let's do that. I like that. Do a little bit different. Fading Andrews and Kelsey. Now, I feel like if Huntley plays, Andrews is going to be tough to fade.
Yes,
I feel like Huntley and Andrews are having sex together. They love each other so much. But we get Goddard at a little bit of a discount, especially coming off of what he came off of last week at 5,900. Let's lock him in. Do you have any love for Saquon as a bringback?
Sure. Yeah. He's really looked good. And yeah, baby. Hold on a minute. Let me see something. I definitely like Saquon. Did they take everybody out? Oh, you fucking faggots. Yeah! Everyone's out! Oh my god, dude. I held on.
What happened? You win? You win something?
Yeah, I won. I took down that $5 again, $5,000. But like all of a sudden, like I was in first the whole fucking, this whole conversation by a lot. And then like this game got pretty close, and like all these teams with multiple players from this game just kept gaining and gaining. And literally like I won by 1.5, 2.5. Like there was like 4 teams just like right on my ankles, and it got to like a minute and a half, 15 points, and both teams just took everybody out. Like one more fucking rebound, and I was gonna get passed by a couple squads. So that was fucking nail biting. So I'm back in the con, but that was cool.
Nice.
Merry Christmas, motherfuckers. You know how we do it. Third one in a couple weeks. No big deal. Whatever. Let's do it.
Do you think basketball is your best sport?
It's funny, but I think football is. But my results would say baseball is, and I do really feel very comfortable in basketball, and but it really varies. Like you would ask me 3 years ago, and it was definitely basketball. There's ebbs and flows in DFS. Stacking's really popular, and vice versa. Things change. Paying down at quarterback and paying up, and I've seen years I've done horrible in sports I thought I was going to do great on, and vice versa.
Yeah, it's I feel like it's weird. Like basketball, the secondary sports, it really is every day. So it's you don't really remember. Like football, it's you got it basically one day a week to worry about. So moving on to the continuous lineup, I feel like the defense I want to lock in right now earlier in the week, there's not much value, but I want to lock in the Atlanta defense at 3,800 at home in the Dome with right now Jared Goff is on the COVID list. So let's just assume that he's not playing and we have David Blau again.
Yeah.
Good. All right.
How could you argue that?
Yeah. And the Falcons, I don't know. I felt like they played a really tough game last week against the Niners and just came up a little short. Moving on to running back now, I think Kupp is in a great spot, and probably we need to have one pay up option since the running backs, since Eckler is if you're going to pay over 9,000. I'm going to pay for Cooper Kupp over Eckler, even if he is healthy. Eckler is just, he doesn't play enough snaps to justify 9,500.
Yeah. I mean,
do you know what I mean?
It's, they give Jackson carries, Keenan Allen's a running back, in the receiver position. They really are not consistent. Let's give Eckler 20 plus a game. It's really game script, dominated and matchup dominated.
Mm-hmm.
Dictated, not dominated, dictated.
Okay. It's weird. It's weird. Somebody in the chat is saying that we want you to answer your question, but there's no question. It's weird. Paulie, you helped me have an Xmas for my kids, man. I need your help and advice, please.
Who said that?
MJR23.
I'll let you boy.
Let's get this back. You helped me win 200 last week. Help a long-term fan. Okay, I guess we helped him win 200 last week in the thing. So,
that's what's up.
All right, cool. All right, let's go with receiver. We're gonna go with Cooper Kupp at 9,800. I don't mind like moving down. I think a great GPP play this week is going to be Jamar Chase.
For sure, nobody's gonna play him.
No. I don't mind any of those Cincinnati receivers, including Tyler Boyd, who has been like almost the most productive out of all of those guys the last few weeks. Like Higgins have gone good, but like he's just been getting the steady targets the last few weeks. For Boyd at 6,200, I wouldn't mind having one of those receivers. Boyd at 62, Higgins at 65, or Jamar at 71.
I mean, 71 is such a nice price tag. But yeah, Boyd to me feels like more of a DraftKings play. Like, the touchdown equity just isn't there. Mixon gobbles up a lot, and then Chase and Higgins are more likely, and even the tight end has been a lot more involved this year than years prior. You know what I mean? So like for Boyd, like he doesn't kill you on DraftKings if he has 6 catches for 70 yards, but on FanDuel he kind of does.
I like that. So I'm also going to lock in Gabe Davis in this lineup. He's 5,300. They didn't really raise his price. He only rated $600 more from last week. Yeah. I mean, even if you're looking at this game against them in New England, first of all, they're going to pass more. It's going to be a completely different game than it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, that was a disaster. Yeah. Like, the Bills are going to smoke New England. I don't know about smoke, but they are going to beat them handily. The Bills are much better than New England.
I think the Bills will win this game. It's a must-win game, and it's a game where, I think if the Bills want to make the playoffs, they have to.
Yeah, they got to.
Right now, they're the number 7 seed, and nobody was going to expect that. I feel like all the coverage is going to go over Diggs, and they're going to be like, beat me with Davis. Beat me running the ball. I think Singletary is another player we got to talk about. But Gabe Davis is who I'm locking in. We got 3 spots left to go, and we got tons of money to spend. We got 22-1. That means 74, almost 7,400 per. So we could pay up at running back. We could go for Cook again if we wanted to. We could go with Saquon. I don't mind. I'm always will be on the Javonte Williams bandwagon.
Yeah, man, I like Javonte.
He is just I really hope that Melvin Gordon goes somewhere where he could be the starter next year and Javonte is given the reins, because every game you watch him and he just makes these plays and breaks tackles where it's just like, man, he's so good.
Yeah.
But that being said, I think that another good value play at running back, I brought it up, is Damian Harris. He practiced this week. He practiced today. And Ramondre Stevenson doesn't play. It's going to be him and Bolden. And we saw, like, New England's going to try and run the ball against Buffalo again. It's not like they're going to try and outscore them. They're not going to do that.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, Mac Jones just can't get in a shootout with Josh Allen. So I want to assume right now that Ramondre isn't playing and put in Harris as a second running back. And then that leaves us, I mean, we got 2 spots. We could go with Dalvin Cook at 8,800, and we got 6,700 to pay for a receiver.
What's your thoughts on Josh Jacobs? I have a similar situation, like maybe Waller's back, but still getting the pass game. He's cheap. Denver's defense overall, I don't think is that good. And I think the way to beat them is on the ground up the middle.
Yeah, I don't mind Josh Jacobs. He says that he was an illness. He was non-participant in practice, but I don't think Waller is going to
Play.
play again. I don't think he's gonna play the rest of the season. So, what about like I know you were on Fields, but what about like David Montgomery?
Yeah, for sure. Seattle, their defense is just bad all over. It is supposed to be like raining too. I mean, it's far away now, but Seattle like it's like a dome, but the weather can get in there, right? If it's raining, it'll be wet.
Yeah, no. There's no dome.
No, it's open, right? So like if there is truly weather impacting that, then he certainly becomes a much more interesting play. The thing is like I just would. It's kind of similar to the Eagles situation. It's like one or the other, not together really. And I do like both of them, and I do like both their pricing. So like if it's not Fields, I'm totally fine with Montgomery.
All right. Well, what we're gonna do for the purposes of lineup, instead of Dalvin Cook, who might probably be in the lineup, let's go with JJ at 8,400, and then the flex spot that leaves 7,100 for. We got Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
We got Renfro, Antonio Brown. I think Antonio Brown at 7,000 on FanDuel is a little much. I think DraftKings, he's way better priced.
He hasn't played in a while.
Mm-hmm. Like how much, how good a shape is he really in and stuff.
Let me tell you something though. If if Tyreek Hill plays, like I love him. He's going to be crazy low owned. The Pittsburgh Steelers defense, is terrible right now and terrible at tackling. And Tyreek Hill is no longer like a home run hitter. Like he's a 10 target per game guy that, runs after the catch. And I could just see him just exploding with this team kind of in this upward regression. Like I do not see the Chiefs not scoring, 25 plus points regardless of who's there. Just the momentum that they have at home against the Steelers defense is just not very good. I mean, they played, a team that had like almost zero offensive players last week. It barely looked all right. I mean, can you name one person on the Titans offense right now?
You mean the Steelers?
No, on the Titans.
Oh no! Well, the Titans play tomorrow night. You think I'm talking about AJ Brown? I was talking about Antonio Brown.
No. I was talking about how bad the Steelers defense is.
Oh yeah, last week. Oh yeah,
and they played the Titans last week. Yeah.
Yeah, Foreman ran all over them. That's the thing. That's another thing.
Yeah, CEH. If one of them's out.
Yes, I think CEH becomes really popular, but Darrell Williams is always there to just F things up. Like, CEH has been in these spots before where you're thinking, oh, he's gonna smoke him. Doesn't.
Yep.
So, all right, here's what we'll do. Let's do a little bit different. Let's just say Tyreek Hill is playing. Let's put him in there as our 8,700 receiver. We got Kupp and Tyreek.
And Hill. I love that. I love that build.
All right. And then our flex spot we have 6,800 left to put in the flex spot. We could put, like we saw, Josh Jacobs, DK, Gage, Monty.
Yeah, I like all those guys.
CEH. Oh, we already put there. So who do you like? Amon-Ra St. Brown, T. Higgins.
Like if there is truly, weather that's impacting the game in Seattle, I would say no Metcalf and yes to Montgomery. What was like one of the first names you mentioned?
Jacobs.
Jacobs, I do really like. Like even though I think the Raiders have like nothing to play for, they do kind of always play tough. And I guess technically they're in the playoff hunt.
Raiders are 7-7 right now with that win. Yeah. So this is pretty much a game. Them and Denver.
Yeah, they're both 7-7.
This is pretty much an elimination game for the playoffs because the Chargers they play Houston this week, so they should win that. And then their last two games are home against Denver and then at Vegas. So I feel like whoever loses this game between Denver and Vegas is going to be out. And I think Vegas wins this game because Drew Lock's going to be starting and stuff. And he just looked terrible the other day. So why don't we go with the narrative that Jacobs is going to be running the clock out, finish out the lineup that way. So the lineup stands Jalen Hurts at quarterback, Ronald Jones, Damian Harris at the running back spot. Our receivers are Cooper Kupp, Gabe Davis, and Tyreek Hill. Ooh, I love that. Tight end, Dallas Goedert. Flex, Josh Jacobs, and the defense is the Atlanta Falcons. All right, Paulie, let's move on to our Vegas best picks of the week.
You know what? Real quick, I do want to say that the Giants do go with Jake Fromm. Like, he did look poised and, like, capable, and I think they will finally get a touchdown to the receiver Galladay. Like, they've given him targets in the red zone, and it was ugly. But as soon as Fromm came in, he like connected with Galladay twice in one drive. It might have even been 3 times. And if they do go with Fromm, it is like a bring back in that Eagles stack. I do think Galladay's viable, low owned, cheap, and I do think he gets a touchdown. You can definitely pass against the Eagles.
I mean, you're gonna get Galladay on the lowest,
Yeah.
you're ever gonna get all year. So nobody's playing him.
No.
He's like Julio Jones these days.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's move to best bet. For me, I'm gonna just do the over in the Baltimore-Cincinnati game. I like that. I also like the over right now in the Pittsburgh Chiefs games because I think some of these guys are going to be cleared, and I feel like if you're a guy that likes to to play the spread, get in these tournaments now. Get the lines now before it changes because some of these guys could be coming back and stuff, and it might go up or go down. Like I don't know, like Tampa, Carolina at 44, like you just see it going off. Like it just doesn't seem right, It's just weird.
Yeah.
Some of the lines are just so low.
Yeah, that is very low. What's the line in the Patriots-Bills game?
The Patriots-Bills game they're low too. They're 43.5.
And like who's favored and by how many?
What does it say here? I think Patriots are -2.5.
Yeah, I'll take the Bills.
Yeah.
I like the over in the Bears-Seahawks game unless weather really impacts it.
And I could see if Goff comes back and plays that the Lions-Falcons game being over 42.
Yeah, I could see that too.
I mean, it's just so low. So, anyways, that's going to do it for the Week 16 first look. Did I say week?
Yeah, the Week 16.
All right, that's going to do it. So, be sure to check us out. Join the nation. You get our projections, cheat sheets, core plays. We got my article comes out on Saturday. 12-3 in cash games, guys. Do it. Get on board. We got Paulie's coming out Saturday night. Obviously, CK's core plays comes out Saturday night or Sunday morning and such too. So, for Paulie D, I'm Patio Joe, wishing you and the nation a very Merry Christmas, and we will see you on next week when we're broadcasting for the New Year's show. So, for Paulie D, I'm Patio Joe, and as our man, CK Christmas says